Welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast, presented by Bienville Bites Food Tour. The Port City Plate Podcast, serving up the food, history, and people of Mobile, Alabama for people who love the Port City. I'm your host, Chris Andrews, and back again with another awesome episode of the Port City Plate Podcast. And today we're talking about one of my favorite, most frequented places in downtown Mobile, Chicken District. They're located in the Insider Food Hall on Dolphin Street. And they've got an awesome menu. I mean, they've got some of the best wings you'll have in town, sandwiches and salads and stuff. And I'm sitting with Danielle Williams, her team at Chicken District, and her husband, Alan. And they're some of the nicest people in Mobile, too. So, that's another reason why you should go to Chicken District. So, Danielle, welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So, tell me the story. I mean, how did Chicken District start? And, what inspired you to start this venture?
Prior to us opening, we're going on 2 years in June. I was in special effects and pyro. So I did professional fireworks for sporting events, 4th of July, those big events. And I worked the entire Southeast region. And like most people in big special events, big events like that, pandemic, we shut down. So we were the first to shut down and the last to open back up. And during that time, my husband and I were trying to just figure out, because at that point, after that first, 6 months, and we realized that, this wasn't opening back up. Because, essentially we would plan and we would get ready for the next holiday. So we missed, 4th of July. So then it was like, okay, well, let's get ready for Labor Day. And then that never happened. And then it's like, okay, well, at what point? And so basically just having to pivot and think about what I was close to 40 at the time, trying to figure out what am I going to do for the next 20 years if this big event, these events that I've put my, career into, is that if they don't come back, or what that's going to look like in the long run. Is it ever going to come back to like it was? And so also just trying to maybe stay a little bit more locally. So our friends, neighbors, Shannon and Daphne were with Wemos. And we threw around this idea of us bringing kind of like a version of that to downtown Mobile and what that would look like. And I've been a part of the downtown community. My husband and I have lived in downtown for going on 17 years this year. I'd worked downtown, worked at restaurants downtown. And so really thinking about, we don't really have a spot like that, quick. We have great nicer restaurants, like fully sit-down restaurants. We've got some good casual restaurants like Moe's and stuff. But what's something that, that would be cool that we could bring down here that's a little bit different and add to the great food culture that's already down here? And so hung out with Wemos. They're I call our sister restaurant. And so got in touch with a friend of mine, the owners of The Outsider Presents. And they were interested in us opening one up and being one of their anchor stores in the food hall. And so that's how we
That's cool.
Yeah, kind of got to it.
So I got to go back to your time in fireworks.
Yeah.
So what is that? What did you do?
So I was the Southeast administrator for a company called J&M Displays. They're out of Iowa. That's where our corporate office was. But we kind of existed as our own arm. So I was essentially the paper pusher for all of your fireworks shows for 4th of July's sporting events. Our sister company in New Orleans was in charge of the Saints. My buddy does all the lighting for the Pelicans. But your 4th of July shows from Atlanta down to Tampa, over to St. Pete, over to the East Coast, Florida, all of Alabama, Georgia. I was in charge of all of those fireworks. We did about 65 firework shows just the week of 4th of July.
That's crazy.
And we had a bunker and warehouse down here out in Theodore, so we were local. And we pushed out of all that, we pushed about 30 shows out between the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Boom Boom in Biloxi.
Yeah.
We did all those.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
All right, so you mentioned, kind of talking to the owners of the Insider. So
Right.
Matt Lamont, right?
Yeah.
So you got to tell the story. So Matt came on this podcast, one of the first episomes we ever did. Okay. And he told the story about how y'all met. So I want to hear your perspective on how y'all met.
Okay. So, my husband, like I said, my husband and I lived down here for a long time, and On this side of Dolphin at that time, there was like maybe 1 or 2 bars. There was really no place, and we live over in Church Street East, which is on the other side of Government. So we're on this side of Dolphin. And so not really a whole lot of places to go. Well, our neighbors told us about this new place that had just opened. It was during Mardi Gras. That just opened. It was called O'Daly's, and it was just O'Daly's. It was just that one little shotgun bar, and that was it. And so we started hanging out there during Mardi Gras, and that's when they opened, pretty much. I think they'd been open for like a couple days. And it was Joe Cane Day. And the reason I remember this is because the T-shirt that I still have, that I actually just found again recently, and texted Matt and asked him if this was the OG T-shirt, and it was. But he was very majestically, beautifully dancing on the bar on Joe Cane Day, because they made it through Mardi Gras, essentially. And I looked up, and I told him I liked his T-shirt, and he took it off and gave it to me. And I still have that T-shirt, and we're still really good friends.
I feel like y'all need like a reprint of that T-shirt.
Oh, yeah,
with Chicken District on it.
Yeah, like a Chicken District, together T-shirt, friendship T-shirt. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Did he tell the story the same way?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and it's a funny thing, because we've all been friends for a long time, and like, it's not a joke when he calls it the O-Family. Like, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And so we joke all the time that somehow when him and my husband get together, T-shirts are coming off. Like, they just get together, and it's like boy school, like fun, and they just
So how go back to how the opportunity came about for you to be in the Insider Food Hall, and like, what's that experience? What was it like originally at the very beginning, and how's it going?
My husband is in the like engineering field, so he he's a designer, so he designs a lot of businesses downtown. So periodically, Matt will reach out to Alan if he's having questions or whatever, because Alan does a lot that kind of design work. And that's kind of how we found out about what he kind of had in mind. And that was the same time that we had already been talking to Shannon and Daphne and thinking about maybe, doing a version of the chicken restaurant, and kind of coming up with what that would look like. And we're like, that's actually the perfect like spot to kind of kick something off. Because it is kind of like a co-op space where it's not a whole lot of like space and responsibility. So you have like a very contained, manageable space. Sometimes I feel like we're busting out of it, but it's, it's something that I think for a lot of like startups, that it, is a good way to start. So kind of talked to Matt about it, and he was excited about it because, he's, we've been friends for long enough that he knows if I'm going to put my mind to something, it's going to be done. So that's kind of how it came to fruition initially. And then, of course, you have all the processes that go in place. We're trying to figure out, your name. And that actually, we were eating lunch at Winsel's, and me and Alan and Shannon and all of us and a bunch of friends were kind of like trying to spitball names. And we lived in a historic district. Downtown is known for its different districts, and we were like, so Chicken District. So that's how that kind of came.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. And but initially, like, when they undertook that building that had been nothing, that's a hard undertaking, especially with these old buildings downtown. There's, like anything, there's going to be, red tape and getting open and stuff. So that was hard, just because of the size of the space and the size of the project. And you're dealing with essentially 5 other businesses that are going to work in tandem, and all of us trying to get open at the same time, get our, health inspections and all of those things at the same time, when none of that had really existed in Mobile before this. I mean, you have like a food court in a mall, but nothing to that kind of magnitude. And so we of course had like our little like growing pains and stuff, but what was good is we just all kind of like had the common goal, and all just figuring out like, if we have like a text group, that thread, and if I realized that there was another step that I had to take that I didn't realize with the health department or with a form somewhere or whatever it was, we kind of would reach out to each other and be like, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but we got to have this, and just staying in communication, and it was kind of cool to be able to do it together. We didn't move into the space that existed. We kind of all opened together. So the Outsider Sports Bar, that opened with us, so we all kind of did it together. So there's definitely a camaraderie that exists in our space that, you get within your own kitchen, of course, but we have it. We're lucky enough to have it with the bartenders next door. We have it with the other restaurants that are in our space. We're all one big, extended family.
Yeah, it really opened my eyes whenever I had Adam on the podcast from Hammer Cow.
Yeah,
and it was really interesting when he was talking about y'all are not competition with each other. Don't see it like that.
No,
y'all really are one big group, and you can tell too when you go in there.
Yeah.
I know you would probably encourage somebody to go get a burger
at
his
absolutely.
place and, or pizza or whatever.
It's because also Chicken District is because Hammer Cows moved to the front as well, so they're up there with us. But when we initially opened, we were kind of the gatekeepers, because when people walk in, they have no idea what they're supposed to do. Now everybody pretty much gets it, and there's other food halls in places that people have visited, but they would walk in and they would you could tell just blank stares, like deer in headlights. Where do I go? What do I do? Please help me. And so my staff we created this little spiel that we give, and it's, hey, welcome to the Insider. There's 5 restaurants. Everybody's got menus on the counters. We're individual restaurants, and then we've got the booze next door. So you just kind of grab
the hostess.
Hostesses essentially. Essentially. And then now that Hammer Cow's up there, they do the same. And we tell people, a lot of people were they'll come up and they're questionable. I'm like, look, most people go grab a bunch of menus. They sit down, they figure it out, and then you just come back and order what everybody wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've talked people out of eating chicken accidentally before, but I get it. When you're on the fence and you want one thing, and I was like, look, I'm not going to tell you, because I have a favorite thing in every single restaurant in here. And we all have our little hacks on what we get from each place, and then we might add some of our own stuff, So we all have a great relationship. Yeah.
All right, we got to talk about your wing flavors. Y'all got a ton of wing flavors.
We do.
So what's some of the most popular flavors of wings? So
my staff's favorite, my team's favorite, is the hot honey garlic, and it's hands down across the board. That's the favorite.
From the staff?
From the staff.
Okay.
The team says, and we call ourselves the hot honey lemon pepper steppers. That's our team name. And they say the hot honey garlic is the best flavor. I like that when I like sweet, because it's got a little bit of sweet, little tangy. But I also like a true buffalo sauce. And my favorite is our buffalo garlic. We make that in-house.
Okay. My favorite is the lemon pepper.
Well, lemon peppers, yeah. Lemon pepper, we make jokes all the time, because lemon pepper goes on everything.
Right.
And we will even go and get something from one of the other restaurants, and it comes back to our kitchen, and lemon pepper will be put on it. People love lemon pepper.
Yeah, you opened my eyes to that one with the Beginville Bites tour.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I think you mentioned serving lemon pepper, I was like, I don't know, but once I had it, I was like, okay, that's it. Yeah. That's it right there. Well, and it's a favorite. It is a big time favorite.
It's the easy go-to that's going to taste good. It's savory. Especially some people are a little bit weirded out by too wet of a sauce.
Yeah.
It's
not messy.
No, yeah. And so you can, so when you're people are coming in for Beginville Bites, it's an easy eat. It's not like then they're sticky and they've got
have to go to the bathroom and wash your hands or whatever.
Right. But yeah, the lemon pepper is super popular, and a lot of people put lemon pepper on other things.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so that's they'll, our hot honey lemon pepper is probably one of our most popular sauces across the board, from a patron standpoint.
Uh-huh.
The amount of hot honey lemon pepper that we sell in a day on wings is.
All right. So what else from the customer perspective is popular?
So I would probably say staying with the hot honey lemon pepper and switching over our district fries. So we do a loaded fry that has cut up chicken tenders on it, and then it's got wing flavors on it, and then we've got a few different versions of that. Probably the most popular one is the hot honey lemon pepper.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the district.
I think I've only had the buffalo chicken.
The hot honey lemon pepper is really good. You gotta like the sweet savory, and it's kind of like a sweet heat, But for those people, once they try it, they're like, oh yeah, this is done. This is done.
I hate we recorded this on Tuesday when you're closed.
I know. Yeah.
This happened to me in the last episode with Mediterranean Sandwich. After I recorded with him,
Yeah.
that was where I went for lunch.
Yeah.
I had to.
I love it.
So I gotta consider that in the future. Okay, like.
Well, you said you came yesterday, so
I did. I was there yesterday.
Yeah,
I had to pepper wings. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, what do you think like sets y'all's wings apart though from other wing places in Mobile?
Honestly, I think it comes down to me and my team. We all love food, and we all always talk about food. We are somebody's constantly bringing something from somewhere that they fell in love with for all of us to taste. We always have like little taste tests, and so I think what it comes down to is myself and my husband and my team. We all cook food the way we want to eat it, and because we love food, we understand that like flavor matters, what it looks like matters, and we also understand that our customers are coming in and spending their money with us and choosing to do that, and they don't have to. So it's for us, it's like, we cook how we want to eat. And I think that and we all love food, and I think that kind of just like shows. But honestly, it's just cooking fresh food. It's cooking fresh food. Like our wings are never frozen. Our chicken's never frozen. It's all coming in fresh. We get it twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes if we're busy.
Right.
And we brine, and we take the time to go through our wings and pick out the bad. You know what I mean? Just small things. Nothing crazy or nothing that's groundbreaking. It's just taking the time and knowing what good food tastes like, and us enjoying food as well, and enjoying like customers when they. But it's also a catch-22 because my team loves food so much, and they know that their food is good and what they're doing, that they get real upset when someone complains.
Well, there can't be too many people complain. I know. I looked at your reviews before I came here. There's not anybody that said anything about the food.
Yeah. I think we got hit with one this past week, but apparently that person is they've given one star reviews to a lot of people. So
yeah. That one don't count.
That's I said it's like grading on a bell curve. You take the top one off and you take the bottom one off, and then that's the average.
Yeah.
That's the average. Yeah.
Apart from the wings, like what would you say are some other must-try items on the menu? We talked about the loaded fries. What else?
So I will say this. I think that we have really good wings. I'm not gonna deny that. We've got really good tenders. We've got really good district fries, but there's a lot of restaurants in Mobile that do those things well. Even other restaurants downtown that do them really well, and I eat there. But I will say that I think that our chicken sandwiches are kind of what kind of separates us. We do a fried, we brine our chicken thighs, and we do a fried chicken thigh on our sandwich. And to me, I think our chicken sandwiches, I'd say our chicken sandwiches are one of the best in Mobile. Yeah. And we have a couple of different variations, but when you have a child come and tell you that your sandwich is better than Chick-fil-A,
that's all you need to hear.
Do you get a better review than that? I don't think so. The Lord's chicken, I can't. I take that. That's like the best form of compliment.
I also think y'all have some of the best fries in town. Like, how would you? I can't figure out how to describe them. They're not shoestring fries. Like, what kind of fries are they? And how do you make those? Or how are they prepared?
Those are a food service item, and they were in the industry. You have your food service distributors have food shows every year, and they kind of roll out their new things. And when we were about to open, we changed our fry. We were going to go with the waffle fry, but we just couldn't find one that was had the extra coating that was seasoned that would stay crispy. Because when you're going to put them on, loaded fries and things like that, you don't want something that's going to get super soggy within 3 minutes of somebody getting it. So we were at the food show, and they had a new they call them new ticket items. And we tried it, and it was literally love at first sight. Yeah. It was, cue the 80s music. It was just love at first sight. So, and the way that we call it a waffle fry or a waffle chip on the menu, but that's honestly because we don't really know what to call it. So I liken it to if a ruffle potato chip was a French fry, that's what our fry is. And the biggest compliment that we get about the fries, people love the fries, but the biggest compliment we also get is that people tell me they can take them home and you can put them in the air fryer or in the broiler in the oven, and they crisp right back.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah, so people like that because sometimes, like our portions are pretty good portions. So people so people like to take, some food home, and they say that they crisp back up. So.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say for sure. You're going to get your money's worth when you go to Chicken District.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Another side item that if you don't get the fries, you got to get the fried okra. Like, y'all have the best fried okra. I'm going to say in downtown Mobile for sure.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? You don't think of the chicken plates usually as having fried okra.
No. And that was Shannon. Shannon does fried okra out at Wemo's, and he was like, Danielle, I'm telling you, the fried okra. And I was like, well, I love fried okra. I eat fried okra like it's popcorn. Like, if I go out to my grandmother's house, she makes me, like, even if it's a small little batch of fried okra, because I literally eat it like it's a snack. And she'll put it in a little Ziploc baggie, and I eat it like a snack. So it was a no-brainer when Shannon's like, oh, yeah, we can do fried okra. And I was like, well, yeah, that's done. That's easy. And then I think I love it because it's a Southern, like, I consider it like a Southern delicacy, but it's got, deep-seated roots here in the South and a part of our culture. Because, when you think about gumbo, okra is important to, and I think it's fun for people that are coming downtown Mobile because a lot of people that are coming through here aren't necessarily from the South, or, we get a lot of people traveling from all over, especially some of the bigger industries we have here, the port city and all those things. So it's really cool to have somebody eat okra for the first time, and people are intrigued by it. And because we don't have a whole lot of other sides, people are more likely to try it if they've never had it. And then the people that do try it, or eat it like you, in what we always also do in Beautiful Bites, which is one of the reasons we put it on the bite, is it's that people talk about it all the time.
Yeah, they do.
And I love when someone's expression, because it's one of my favorite things about Southerners in general is how much food we love and how in depth we love that food.
Yep.
That when people leave notes, or they'll say there'll be some kind of noise involved with how good, woo, that okra, it's some kind of noise involved with how good the food is. It just makes you smile. I got a note, the first couple weeks we were open, somebody left me a note on a napkin, which I feel like is like a old thing that young people probably don't even know that was a thing. Even if you wanted to put a request in for a band, you wrote it on a napkin. Yep. So this lady from Louisiana left me this note on this napkin, and it said, woo, that coleslaw, you put your feet in that coleslaw. And as a Southerner, I don't know that you get a better compliment than that.
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
You've reached the pinnacle.
I think that's it. That's it.
Coleslaw. I got to try the coleslaw.
Coleslaw's good too. Yeah, and it goes on our district sandwich, which is one of our most popular sandwiches.
And if you want to leave feedback, just write it on a napkin. Give it to Danielle.
Yep, that's it.
I like that.
That's it.
And I was thinking too, when you said that about the okra, we've had a lot of people. Talked to a lot of people who have been on the tour, and they have had the fried okra and gone back and had it again because it was such a hit. And I like too when you said that about the out-of-towners. Yeah. Some out-of-towners on our tour as well sometimes.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that where it's been their experience of trying fried okra for the first time, or maybe it was just one of the few times they've ever had it too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that too. One of the only places downtown that you could probably get good fried okra. So
yeah, I'll say I always like to give shout outs. Winsel's has good fried okra.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna, if the food's good, I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Mama's,
Yeah, Mama's has got. The thing is, what I love about it is a lot of people, if they've had okra, it's been in another form, and it's been maybe a stewed okra. So some people haven't had the best experience because some people don't like the sogginess of it.
That's right.
So when you have a little,
if it's not fresh, then it's been soggy, and it's probably not
right. And a lot of people are texture people and certain textures, and so the fried okra for most people is just little morsel of goodness. It's just good, and we season it too, which helps. And people there's been times where we've ran out of certain things, and people get upset, of course. It happens. We're a small space,
Yep.
But if we run out of okra, it's a misunderstanding. It is a misunderstanding.
I want to give you a chance to talk about your staff too, because you
Yeah.
can tell. I know, like your staff's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know they feed off your energy too. So maybe talk about that, and then talk about how, like y'all are a new restaurant. You've been trying to figure this thing out, and then now you're having to hire people and train them and go through that, which is a hard enough process in and of itself for a business owner. But you being a newer business, I don't know. Maybe talk about maybe some of the challenges there and how you've overcome that.
I will say I have one of the best teams on Dolphin Street. That it is what it is. But I was an educator early on when I went. That's what I went to school for, and then teaching, and then also leading teams. Because outside of being the paper pusher for for pyrotechnics, I was also a pyrotechnician. So I would have to run a full team on a show, and you're talking about working in 100-degree weather, potentially on a barge for 12, 15-hour days for a load-in for a show, and then have to break that down. So you'd be on a barge for 4 or 5 days.
Man,
it's heavy labor. Those shows really do take a lot to get put into, and so I think that having to work with young people and keep them motivated when I was an educator, and kind of teaching them along the way, and then having these teams out here, and when you're 100-degree weather, I think it's helped me in some ways kind of like be able to lead in the kitchen. But one of the biggest things that I always say is I'm not going to expect any of my team or my staff to do anything that I'm not going to do. And so I lead my kind of philosophy is to lead by example. And so that's kind of what I've tried to do. And I'm really lucky that I found some really great people. But also what I've noticed is by me kind of facilitating, I call it the culture of the kitchen. And I worked in a lot of restaurants, so there's a lot of different kinds of cultures and a lot of different kitchens that you can have. And so for me, it was about keeping that like, you got to get through the shift, and it gets hard, and it gets busy, and it gets, like stressful, really stressful, especially in our style kitchen where you're doing all of it. We don't have a back of the house and a front of the house, and we're like
hiding back there.
No. If you're expoing, you may have to go take an order and talk to customers, or if you're dropping chicken and cooking, you may have to roll out an expo. Like, so it's you're having to do all the things. And so for me, it was keeping that culture in that we're all here, we're all gonna do the work together, and we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna have fun when we can have fun. We're gonna be busy and work hard when we need to work hard. But also what I noticed is me like just leading by example and having those expectations for myself, and then them having those expectations for themselves, is they're also as protective over that kitchen culture as I am. So at this point, before I hire anybody, I ask them, do y'all know anybody? Because they're already protective about it. So they're not going to bring anybody in there or vouch for anybody that isn't, that they don't want in there, that's going to, be part of our team and have fun and work hard. And we get stressed. We have our moments. Like, during Mardi Gras, that's its own beast.
Yeah.
But because of the jobs I've had in the past and having to power through, being able to pick your friend up or pick your coworker up and, hey, go take 5 minutes. We got this. It may take a few more minutes on the back end when the person's getting their order, but our ticket times are good. And, if you're waiting, that means that we are slammed.
Right.
Like that means that we have, and there are times at Mardi Gras, you got lines out the door. And so we're just, we're doing what we can do. But I think it's just keeping in mind that everybody has to work. Nobody wants to. I don't want to have to work for a living.
Yep.
Do you?
No.
No. But we all have to work. So if we're going to do it, let's have fun doing it, and let's at least create a space where you may not hang out after work. That's fine. I mean, we do, but you don't have to. But create a space when you're coming to work, you're at least get to have a little fun while you're at it.
Yeah.
especially in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, because there's so much turnover, and it's because it's so stressful.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when
y'all
you've got
y'all do a great job. Like I said, it shows y'all got a great team.
yeah, I'm nothing without them. I've got no issue saying that. Nothing without them.
What's maybe like a short-term goal for Chicken District? You know, like what do y'all have any like menu rollout or you know what's anything that's going on that's going to be new?
So we pared down a bit on our menu from when we first opened, just understanding our space a little bit better and understanding what we can get out. And so we did that in the fall and rolled with our menu. And my hope is that we've gotten to a space, and I think we have now, that we can start rolling out some like weekly specials or daily specials is what I would like to do. My team is always creating things in the kitchen, and we've got a few that we're ready to like pretty much, you know, just at this point, it's just crunching numbers and making sure that everybody knows what we're doing. But like we have a Cajun Ranch chicken sandwich that we're working on, and it's going to have a Cajun batter as well as our Cajun Ranch, which is also one of our popular sauces.
Nice, yeah.
We've been playing around with a chicken biscuit on Sundays.
Okay.
And it's just, at this point, just trying to find the right, because, you know, our kitchen's not big. So trying to find what that looks like. We've talked about doing some extended versions of our district fries we have seasonal sauces already. So for instance right now one of our seasonal sauces is our jerk, which is popular. So you can request like the jerk district fries.
Okay.
So like keeping those district fries, well, as those seasonal sauces, certain ones of them that we like and we think that, you know, could roll out, then they become our district fries as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about long term? I mean, I know I think when you think of a food hall, you think of maybe, you know, this place, they're going to want to try to branch out to their own brick and mortar place one day. Like, is that y'all's, you know, aspiration, or like, what do you think long term?
I think so for us right now, in thinking about like the restaurant world and the industry as a whole, food and beverage, we've talked about, and I think we're getting pretty close to pulling the trigger on some food trucks. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be our next kind of venture, because it keeps it manageable enough for us at this time to grow without having to take on like partners and investors and things like that. So we can manage that and keep that with the staff that we already have, just adding a couple more people, because I like the dynamic of you running an entire restaurant with 3 or 4 people.
Right.
You know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, we have on big nights, I'll have a staff of 4. Al and I'll roll in. That's 5 and 6. But that's like Mardi Gras. Full staff Mardi Gras, 6 people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that long term moving forward, I feel like that is what is going to be more manageable for a lot of people. I don't think it's just, you know, what our plan is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's
with
like
the rising food costs and the rising rent prices and
right.
all over the country, not just in Mobile.
Yeah.
Everywhere, yeah.
Well, and just being able to be, like, I think the thing about a restaurant is that you got to be there. If it's going to be successful, it's not like, unless you're like a silent investor or something, you've got to work it and you've got to be there if you're going to, like I said, be successful. So it's one of those things where you have to make it manageable. And for Alan and I's lifestyle, we like to travel and we like to do those things. And so it makes sense for us to do food trucks, because then our staff likes to travel, our staff likes to do stuff. We have staff that have different interests. Well, if that's the case, then we set them up in the food truck, and then they can go feed people at those interests.
Yeah.
So like we've got a couple of us that play disc golf. Well, I don't know if you know anything about Disc Golf Pro Tour or the disc golf events, even in Mobile. It's huge. It's a $1 million industry. And, you know, you roll up on a disc golf course, you have hundreds of people that are out there playing disc golf.
Right.
Or, you know, we've got staff that's really into music. Well, there's music festivals everywhere.
Yep.
And then just our local events that we have periodically, like when it comes to just like weddings and out at the fair, the Greater Gulf State Fair, all of these events can create a space where you're not having to come to the people, but the people can come to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. That's a great idea.
So,
and y'all mastered running a restaurant in a small space. So
that's the other thing.
The food truck is a good
We're essentially
transition.
a food truck in a building. Yeah, that's
yeah.
our space. That's our, like our space. So we can. I mean, of course, we could do another brick and mortar, and we could do all those things. And at some point, we might. But just when it comes to having multiple brick and mortars, that's when you get into I feel like a different kind of business model.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that we're ready to pull the trigger on that.
Yep. Oh, that's good. That's interesting. So I mentioned earlier about y'all are closed on Tuesdays. Like, what are y'all's hours downtown and?
Yeah. So people think the Tuesday thing is so weird, but it made so much sense to all of us. But the reason we're closed on Tuesdays is because you had so many restaurants that were closed on Sundays and Mondays. And so Tuesday just made sense because it's not a busy day generally at restaurants. That Monday, Tuesday is normally. Sundays downtown are actually a pretty good day. I don't know that that's the case for everywhere. But Mobile, Sunday, people like Sunday fun day.
Yeah.
So Mondays and Tuesdays are generally your slower days. And so it made sense for us to close on Tuesdays. So we're, especially when we have the sports bar next door as well for Sundays, Monday night football, stuff like that.
Right, good point.
So we are open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 11 to 9. So we're open the full day from lunch to dinner at 9. We are open from 11 to 10 on Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday, like most places downtown, we're 11 to 8.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well, we're going to transition to the next segment of the podcast where it's called Meat and Three.
Okay.
And so we've gotten into the meat of the podcast, and I've got 3 questions for you.
Okay.
And I'm excited about this one because I know how much you love food.
Yeah.
So I know that you go out to eat a lot too.
I do.
And you mentioned you lived here. Are you a Mobilian? Did you grow up here?
No, but I was.
Okay,
but I was.
You lived here a long time.
But I was born here. My dad was in the Navy.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I had never asked this one before, but so can you think of a restaurant? Maybe hitting on a little nostalgia here, like a restaurant that you miss that you went to maybe a long time ago that you is not around anymore that you miss.
I mean, it's probably gonna be La Pizzeria.
Yeah.
Did you ever eat there?
No, I didn't.
It was in Linecoff.
Yep.
And it was an Italian restaurant, and that's where Alan and I used to go for our anniversary every year.
Okay.
And it was there. I mean, it was just like your neighborhood Italian restaurant, like you think of like in the movies. Like the food was always delicious. They had amazing Caesar salads. They had fresh bread. And it was ran by some local Mobilian restaurant people that have been down here for a long time. And it was one of my favorite restaurants downtown. I don't know how long ago they closed. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And then the other one that we just lost, which made me really sad, was Osmond's.
I know it. Yeah.
That was a tough because Alan and I switched to Osmond's when La Pizzeria closed to be our new, and then now that one's closed. I said, Alan, where are we gonna go for our anniversaries?
Don't go there; it's gonna close.
I know.
Osmond's. Everybody's got an Osmond story. I think especially you think of anniversary or a special occasion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just so different. Like there was there was no. I mean, it reminds me of like some of my favorite restaurants in New Orleans. Like it just had that like old school, just white tablecloth vibe that just you just felt like you were treating yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not gonna ask you like the normal like dinner spots because everybody mentions like Noja and Noble South, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to. I gotta give you the hard ones.
Okay.
So give me some hidden gems, like some secret spots in Mobile that don't get a lot of love.
Okay.
It's really good that y'all go to.
Okay, so my latest food place that I've been going to that I really like that I don't think a lot of people know about is Bistro San Emmanuel, which is over in the old Fort Condy district. And it is really good. And they're doing breakfast, which I think, we have a couple of great breakfast restaurants downtown. But they're doing a little bit more of an upscale breakfast, which I love. And it's just white tablecloths. It's nice. You get that kind of like, I'm still in Mobile, but like because it's part of the Fort Condy Hotel and all that, you kind of feel like you're not.
Feel like you're in Mobile.
No,
really
it doesn't. It doesn't. Like you get this fun little like
1800s era building. It's just really, really cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. The bar in there is gorgeous. Like I could just stare at the bar. It's so beautiful. And the people there are super nice, and the food is really good. It's really good.
Yeah, the food's good there.
Yeah, and then like I always like I love Rochelle's for a burger. I feel like a lot of people don't know much about Rochelle's.
I know it. It's like the work truck crowd that goes there a lot. It's not a. I don't know. It's more like a business lunch.
Yeah. They're really good. I don't know if you've been to Penton Bistro yet. It's good.
It's good.
They're good. And like I have this whole thing about burgers in Mobile. Like I have like I love burgers so much. Like my dad and I used to travel for fireworks all the time, and we would always go find like the burger place. Where's the burger place? And Mobile has so many great burgers. I love like how passionate people get on. Like somebody posted something recently. It's like 3 or 4 months ago. It's like, where's the best burger in Mobile? And I don't have like a best burger. I have a best like style of burger. Like, you know what I mean? So like Rochelle's has the best diner burger.
Yeah.
Like old school diner burger. It's delicious.
Yep.
Hammer Cow, best smash burger.
For sure. Yep.
Callahan's has the best like barbecue, like backyard, not barbecue burger, but backyard style barbecue burger. I could eat their burger especially if I have a hangover. Callahan's, I'm going to eat Callahan's for a burger. And then like River Shack has a really great burger.
Really? Okay.
The Shack burger. I don't know if they have it all the time, but their burger's really good. And it's like more of like a thick cut burger. And so I think those are my favorite burgers.
Okay, that's definitely, I like that. That's good. I love talking burgers.
Yeah.
Name one dish everyone in Mobile should eat right now.
Ooh, one dish. I mean, my brain's always going to go to gumbo. I don't think people eat it like enough. I eat gumbo a lot, and I like Winslow's Downtown Gumbo for restaurant gumbo.
Yep.
There's a lot of good gumbo out there. I recently had Penton's gumbo. It was really good.
I hadn't had their gumbo.
Yep,
yeah.
It was good. And it was the one that I had is kind of like it's kind of like a Mobile gumbo meets New Orleans gumbo, and it had a baby, and it's really good.
All right, what do you mean?
Like it has like sausage in it, it's got chicken in it, but it also has like shrimp in it.
Okay.
And so it's like seafood gumbo, and what I consider New Orleans style gumbo, which is going to be like your chicken sausage gumbo.
Yep.
It like they kind of like had a baby. It's really good. And then I don't know, my favorite dish, that's tough. It would it's probably going to be off of the secret menu at Chuck's.
Really? Okay.
And it's going to be the donkey on crack roll.
Yeah. Does Chicken District have a secret menu item?
We don't have a secret menu item, but people like to come in. When we're not busy, we don't mind like people creating stuff. But it just cracks me up sometimes because then somebody will post that on social media. And like recently we had this thing where it's like there's like a loaded okra. And this is it's a loaded okra. And it's not something that's on the menu. And when we're super busy, it's like hard for us to like do it. But like if we're not busy, like it has become somewhat of a social media phenomenon.
All right, so the real ones know about the loaded okra.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I know. Well, I went in there to get a chicken sandwich, and I think I was talked into putting like a sriracha bourbon sauce on the chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that's probably one of the staff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The team also, they always have their favorite things because they're eating the food all the time.
Yeah.
So there's also another sandwich that we've been playing with, and it's actually the staff came up with it. And it is a combination of our Nashville hot sandwich and our district sandwich. And I think we're going to call it the, what did we name it? Kickin' District.
Yeah.
The Kickin' District. So
Nice.
it's going to be a combination of the Nashville hot with our coleslaw on it.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, our next segment of the podcast is called Chris's Dishes. That's where I talk about the best dish that I've had lately. And if you've got a dish that you've had, I'll turn it over to you. But mine is from Ed's Seafood Shed.
Okay.
And we went for breakfast on Sunday.
Okay.
And we were over there in Daphne soccer tournament. And we just made it in time for breakfast. They stopped serving breakfast at 10:30. I think we pulled in the parking lot at like 10:26.
Yeah.
And one of the staff members like waving us in. Like I think he knew we wanted the breakfast.
Right.
And so I'm glad he did. Come to find out, the guy that was waving us in was Nick DeMario. It was his dad. So Nick, one of the owners of Panini Pete's and the whole Panini Pete's group. He's been on the podcast before, and anyway, I got to talk to him later, and he was like, he mentioned one of my sons is the owner, and I asked him, and he mentioned that Nick was his son. So like, that's cool. He's like the ambassador for Ez, he said, like on the weekends. So anyway, it was really cool to meet him. He talked our ear off. He was a really cool guy. But anyway, my dish though is the Battleship Bowl. I had the Battleship Bowl, and it had eggs, and it had grits, had bacon, had fried okra, all in the bowl. It had some cheese and some kind of some sauce and stuff on top like that. Came with a biscuit on the side. Had like a marmalade jelly. So I mean, it was fantastic.
That sounds delicious.
It was really, really good. So it was a good bowl. And one of my favorite dishes there is one of the hot catfish bowl that they had at lunch.
Is that the one with the collard greens in it? Yeah, that's good. I've had that. That's real good.
That is a good dish.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, like I said, it was kind of maybe a little bit of the breakfast spin on that, but really good, the Battleship Bowl. So, what you have a dish that you've had lately?
So, yeah, I have to say it's probably the Charleston at Callahan's.
Okay.
A lot. I don't know I assume people know about like Callahan's, but Callahan's is also a downtown place. So, like, depending on if you're a frequenter to downtown, like, I feel like Callahan's pretty famous. But their food is amazing, and they do brunch on Sundays, and they have the Charleston, and it is like their version of an Eggs Benedict, but it's a cream spinach like hollandaise sauce that goes over as like the hollandaise for the Benedict, and it is delicious.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
I've never done their brunch. I didn't know they did a brunch.
Yeah, it's good. They have a couple of different really good things on their menu. They have a like a hash burrito. It's like corned beef hash burrito that's really good. Yeah, I would say the Charleston is probably, I had it like 2 weeks ago, and it's still on my mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, that's another good little, I think, hidden gem, that Callahan's brunch.
Oh, Callahan's brunch is great, and what I love about Callahan's is you never know when you pop in there what musician you're going to see, and then fast forward 5 years and they're like doing world tours. Right. And so anytime I get a chance during anytime that Al and I aren't at the restaurant or we're not busy and we just pop over there and either eat and listen, because I don't have to know who they are, because I know just what they're doing over there at Callahan's and the music they're bringing in is
it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
That's cool. Well, Danielle, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun. All right, y'all got to go down to Chicken District, check them out, and get all the stuff that we talked about on the podcast today. So appreciate y'all listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.